Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dante Toro, and today I am back with another rebooking video. Last time I did this, I rebooked The Undertaker's WrestleMania winning streak post WrestleMania 30, and today I'm going to be rebooking the Animal Batista's 2014 WWE return run. Before I get into my fantasy booking, let's just go over what originally happened during Batista's 2014 run. He came back around the Royal Rumble. It was a week beforehand that he was returning, so WWE had to kind of start putting together video packages, put him on TV, hyping up his return. It wasn't a big Royal Rumble surprise like many people probably would have preferred, including myself, but he did return at the Rumble and he won. He then went on to have a match against Alberto Del Rio at Elimination Chamber, just a filler match, something they had to throw in there. And then at WrestleMania 30, he had a triple threat match against Daniel Bryan and his former Evolution partner Randy Orton, where he lost and Daniel Bryan became the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. After WrestleMania 30, Batista, Orton, and Triple H went to reform Evolution and have a series of matches against The Shield. They had a 3-on-3 match at Extreme Rules, which saw The Shield win, and then another one at Payback, which also saw The Shield win. The next night on Raw, Batista waves goodbye to the crowd, and we don't see him again for another few years. This return was weird because it was right place at the wrong time for Batista. Batista comes back, you have this whole story about Randy Orton being the world champion. You have two former Evolution guys going head to head at the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. It's all written out for you. The story's there. Unfortunately for Batista, there was another guy that was very popular around this time that fans wanted to win over anybody else, and that person was Daniel Bryan. Everything that happened here was not Batista's fault. It really wasn't. He just came back at a time that he was being overshadowed by Daniel Bryan. They wanted him to win the Rumble, not Batista. They wanted Bryan to win the World Championship, not Batista. As great as Batista was, this just was a terrible time to come back, and you could have put anyone in his shoes and the same thing would have happened. Of course, when Batista returned, they had this script, they had this story planned out, and they had to change things up along the way. They did the best they could, but my name is Dante Toro, and I'm gonna book Batista's 2014 return run better than WWE. First and foremost, Batista returns at the Royal Rumble. Yes, there's no promos beforehand. There's no showing up on TV. I don't care if this got leaked. Keep it the worst kept secret. That has happened numerous times in the history of wrestling, especially over the last few years, and it still works out fine. If Batista's rumored for this, if there's leaks going around, keep it out there. Don't bring it up, don't talk about it, just have him return at the Rumble without saying a word. Just like in real life, Batista comes in at number 28, but something else that happens during this Royal Rumble that may have happened earlier, we'll say he came in earlier, Daniel Bryan enters the match. The fact that WWE never even included Daniel Bryan in this match to begin with was such a boneheaded decision because the fans were anticipating him. They wanted him in that match. They booed everyone that wasn't Daniel Bryan. So by not having him in the match, you had the fans hijack it. Even if he isn't gonna win in the first place, putting him in that match, you can build a story for whoever eliminates him or whatever the case may be, you can build something off of that. Another change that I'm gonna make, that instead of Rey Mysterio coming out at number 30, we have Brock Lesnar coming out instead. By doing this, we save Rey Mysterio the embarrassment of getting booed. It wouldn't be as bad in this case as it was in real life, because in here, Daniel Bryan is in the match, so fans I don't think would be booing Mysterio like they did because he was number 30 and not Daniel Bryan. Just in case, so we don't risk any of that, Rey Mysterio is not in this match and it is Brock Lesnar instead. And with Brock Lesnar being in this match, we finally get the dream face-off between Brock and Batista. The Beast and the Animal, they take out everybody in the match, everybody standing in their way until it's just those two standing off. They are staring each other down. They are not taking their eyes off each other. And while they're doing this, everyone that they had beaten down gets back up and takes down both men. They're both fighting everyone off. They're both shaking up, punching guys, kicking guys left and right, throwing guys around, German suplexes, spine busters, you know the deal. When Brock Lesnar has his back turned, he's kind of shaking off the cobwebs, figuring out where he is. Batista clotheslines him over the top rope and eliminates him. A few seconds after, Brock Lesnar sees red because he realizes what just happened. He goes back in the ring, drops Batista with an F5, and eliminates Batista from the match. And to close out this event, Daniel Bryan wins the Royal Rumble match. The next night on Raw, Batista comes out and he is very visibly upset, and for good reason. He's calling out Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, who was by Brock Lesnar's side. While he's in the ring calling out both men, we hear, "I'm here to show the world, I'm here to show the world, come on." No, it's not staying in there. So Dolph comes out basically ripping on Batista, cutting a typical heel promo saying, "You're not an animal, you're a baby poodle, you're all bark, no bite," all this shit. And basically saying he's not the animal that he once was. Because if he was the animal Batista from years before, he would be out in the back searching for Brock, searching for Paul, but instead he's in the ring calling them out like a little bitch. Dolph says instead of standing around, he should do something about it. And Batista, he smiles at Dolph and he says, "You know what? I agree. I should do something about it," and then proceeds to rip Dolph Ziggler's head off his body. Batista hits Dolph with spine busters, Batista bombs, puts him through an announce table. He shows everyone that, nope, I'm the animal Batista, and I am still as dangerous as I always have been. Batista and Dolph Ziggler happens at Elimination Chamber, and surprise, surprise, Batista wins here. And in the lead up to this match, there are backstage interviews. Batista is having TV matches like he was in real life, leading up to this Dolph match, and still calling out Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. The next night on Raw, Paul Heyman comes down to the ring, and Batista, as you'd imagine, isn't too far behind. Paul Heyman comes out and is basically saying, "I haven't heard from Brock. He's gone off the reservation. I don't know what's going through his head. I don't even know where he is right now." Batista is telling Paul, "Okay, that's fine. Whether you're telling the truth or you're lying to me, I was looking for one of you two, and you're here, so I'm gonna rip your head off." And just as Batista is about to put Paul Heyman into a Batista bomb, Brock Lesnar's music hits. And Brock Lesnar not only is coming down to the ring, he storms to the ring, and these two have an all-out brawl. You have not only the two biggest names of the Ruthless Aggression era, but two of the most dominant, biggest, terrifying superstars in the company's history. If you have these two guys going at it, you make it feel real and you let them actually fight. Make it seem as legit as possible, have them beat the piss out of each other, and as you can probably tell where I'm going here, this match gets set up for WrestleMania 30. By setting up this match, not only do we keep Brock Lesnar the fuck away from The Undertaker, so the streak does not get touched here, but Batista also separates himself from Daniel Bryan, from Randy Orton, everything going on with the WWE title picture, because Batista is still a babyface. He hasn't turned heel. If you remember, during his run, the only reason why he was a heel was because the fans forced him to become a heel. But in this case, Batista doesn't win the Rumble. He's not included or taken away a championship opportunity from Daniel Bryan, so there's no reason to boo him. And then after a 10 to 15, hard-hitting, not the most technically sounded match of all time, just let them throw haymakers at each other this match and just go at each other. At the end of it all, Batista defeats Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. And just like in real life, Daniel Bryan defeats Randy Orton in the main event to win the WWE Championship. And this could be a one-on-one match, or we can add Triple H to the equation to still make it a triple threat match by having him replace Batista. Whatever we want to do, doesn't matter. Daniel Bryan, WWE Champion. After WrestleMania, Triple H has a Shield problem, and he recruits Randy Orton to help him out, but they need one more guy. The Shield have 3 members, Evolution only has 2 right now. Ric Flair ain't walking through that door, that's for shit sure. Triple H desperately recruits Batista and even promises him a world title match if he helps them out. At the end of the day, Batista did return for one last world championship run. He doesn't care about the politics or why Triple H is fighting the Shield or what else is going on. He just wants a world title match, and if this is what he has to do to get it, then so be it. So in real life, the Shield and Evolution faced off at Extreme Rules and Payback. 2 matches. The first match was just a typical 3-on-3 match, and the second one was an elimination match. The one thing that I am going to change here is that Evolution wins the first match at Extreme Rules. So Evolution defeats the Shield at Extreme Rules, and Batista is now asking Triple H when he is getting his title match now that he helped him take care of the Shield. Triple H looks at Batista and says, "Oh no, 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 we are just getting started." Batista is obviously upset by this because he thought it was a one-time thing, and he did his job. He's telling Triple H, you have to hold up your end of the bargain. I delivered on my promise, you have to deliver on yours. Triple H says when the job is done and the Shield is taken out, you will get your title match. Fast forward to Payback, and the Shield clean sweep them, just like in real life. The next night on Raw, Triple H is besides himself. He is furious that they lost to the Shield. Not only lost to them, but got swept by them. And while all this is happening, Batista's looking at Triple H and saying, hey man, is this done? Is this done yet? Because you promised me a match and I want my match. Triple H is looking at Batista like he's crazy and saying, you're not getting anything. This isn't over. Batista, in real life, walked out and quit on this episode of Raw. But here in this case, Batista leaves, but he's not waving goodbye and he doesn't quit like he did. Later in the night, the Shield do break up like they normally did because there's always a plan B, blah, 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 blah. I'm not touching that. That's gonna stay the same. The next week, Daniel Bryan relinquishes his WWE Championship due to injury. So on June 9th, we are spending the entire episode of Raw wondering how we're gonna figure out who's gonna be the next champion, who's gonna be challenging for the belt, what type of match is it gonna be, when's the match gonna be? All these questions are looking to be answered. And at some point during the night, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are backstage and Batista walks in. Batista at this point is basically threatening Triple H, saying, I helped you and I've helped you so much during my career, I am owed this match. You promised me this match and if I don't get it, there will be hell to pay. Maybe Stephanie McMahon gets in Triple H's ear, maybe Stephanie McMahon has a soft spot for Batista and is convincing Hunter to give him the match, saying he should have a chance for the World Championship. Triple H thinks about it and says, you're right. You do deserve a world title match, and you will get that world title match at Money in the Bank when you go up against 6 other superstars for the vacant WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now we're at Money in the Bank, and Batista's in this match going up against the likes of John Cena, Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, Sheamus, Dolph Ziggler, and Rob Van Dam. There were 2 ladder matches this night, and I'm kind of just moving some guys around, so this match is as big and as important as possible. Batista, believe it or not, is climbing the ladder, and he looks like he's about to win the World Championship. Batista, not a ladder match guy. We haven't seen him in a lot of ladder matches, but he does well for himself here, and as he is climbing the ladder with no one in sight, Triple H comes in and screws Batista. And just like in real life, John Cena climbs that ladder and becomes the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Batista is besides himself. Next night on Raw, he is not only threatening Triple H, he is threatening the company. He is going scorched to earth, saying he is gonna rip apart any and everything that is in his way. There is nothing that is gonna stop him from ripping Triple H's head off of his shoulders. And Triple H's music hits, doesn't go down to the ring, just stands at the top of the stage. Triple H says maybe he shouldn't have been so entitled and just help him take out the Shield like he asked him to. But since Batista didn't want to do that, Triple H had to do it himself, which, you know, the whole Plan B stuff they're all surrounding him. Triple H had to orchestrate that because Batista wouldn't help him anymore. Triple H tells Batista that he did this to himself and he honestly deserves what comes his way. And Batista in return says to Triple H, you also deserve what's coming your way, and it is hell on earth. Batista is dead set on killing Triple H. Batista challenges Triple H to a match, and instead of accepting or even saying anything, Triple H kind of stands there, laughs, and starts to walk away. Randy Orton comes out of nowhere and RKO's Batista in the middle of the ring. This sets up Randy Orton versus Batista at Battleground, and if Batista wins, he gets a match with Triple H at SummerSlam. After a back and forth battle between 2 former members of Evolution, Batista defeats Randy Orton and gets his match against Triple H at SummerSlam. But this isn't any ordinary match. No. Batista versus Triple H at SummerSlam is a career versus career match. I am bumping this match up 5 years because yes, this did happen in 2019, Batista versus Triple H at WrestleMania 35. But imagine if they had that match 5 years prior. I think a career versus career match in 2014 makes a lot more sense than 2019, because in 2019, like Triple H, 5 years later, we knew his in-ring career was almost over. Batista, we knew was back for this last match. But in 2014, people could have been wondering if Batista was gonna continue his run after SummerSlam. And Triple H too, you know, his in-ring career days, the clock was ticking. So it was believable that he could retire at this point. Regardless, Batista is selling the shit out of this match, basically saying that no matter whether Triple H wins or not, he is not walking out of SummerSlam on his own 2 feet. If Batista loses and has to retire, he is making sure that Triple H retires with him because he is going to beat the absolute shit out of him. Batista says he will stop at nothing until Triple H is defeated and removed from power. Batista is ashamed of the person that Triple H has become and feels like he is the one that has to take him out. Triple H calls Batista his greatest creation, but it's time to put the animal down. And at SummerSlam, Triple H defeats Batista in what would be Batista's final match in WWE, his official retirement match. Batista, just like at WrestleMania 35, goes out on his back to Triple H. As much as I love Batista's run in 2019, as short-lived as it was, I felt like 2014 should have been and was meant to be Batista's final run. Unfortunately for Batista, his original run was hijacked by Daniel Bryan and the fans. It was just right place, wrong time for Batista. There was nothing he could have done about it, and that's why I feel like that 2014 run was, not that it wasn't memorable, but it seems like it was watered down a bit because the bigger focus was Daniel Bryan and that story, when it was meant to be about Batista and his big return. But by going down this route, what I did here, you avoid Daniel Bryan, you avoid all the shit that turns Batista heel, so you keep him face this whole time. Yes, he goes up against the Shield, he helps out Triple H and Orton, but there's deep history there. This was nothing more than a favor. He wanted a world title match, he was helping out his old friends, nothing more than that. So not only does Batista avoid Daniel Bryan and avoid turning heel, he also faces Brock Lesnar in a dream match at WrestleMania and gets the win, and in turn, the Undertaker streak stays alive. You still get the 2 Shield Evolution matches, which were fantastic. You get Batista in a ladder match, you get Randy Orton one-on-one, and you get Triple H one-on-one. So I think in this case, you accomplish a lot, you get some dream matches out of the way, some big moments, and you keep some big matches from real life. Now, people might be upset, people might be wondering why Batista didn't win a world championship during this run. Well, I don't think he needed it. Batista is a stand-up guy, right? He wants to give back to the business. When he came back for WrestleMania 35, and I say put Triple H over, he didn't put Triple H over, you're not putting anyone over at that point. But he went on his back against Triple H because he wants to give back to the business. And this is kind of how I'm looking at this run, where originally he was set up for a world title run. He won the Royal Rumble. He was going to main event WrestleMania, this and that. I booked this run like Batista was giving back to the business. The only big win he really had was against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. He did beat the Shield at Extreme Rules, but beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania in that dream match was like his world championship win. As nice as it would have been to see Batista with another world championship run, I think there was already so much going on in that title picture that Batista didn't need to be involved in, and there were other stories, other opponents that he could have had that really just filled out this retirement run and made it feel special. At the end of the day, Batista is not only one of the greatest superstars from the Ruthless Aggression era, but one of the greatest superstars ever. Batista deserved so much more during his 2014 run, which unfortunately again was hijacked by fans and Daniel Bryan out of his control. And I'm happy he came back at 35 for that last match and run against Triple H, but I believe this run, 2014, should have been his last, and I hope I booked it well enough so I did him well and I sent him off on a high note. And that is how I would book Batista's return run in 2014. Let me know in the comments if there's anything here that you would change, or if you thought my rebooking was perfect, it was flawless. Let me know in the comments. I appreciate you guys for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And again, put in the comments, how would you book Batista's 2014 run? How would you do things differently? If you would do things the same, different, let me know below. Check out all the other videos on this platform, and I'll see you guys around. Peace.